You're listening to another episode of Rig Recon Live. I'm Bruce Quick alongside Jason Witmier. And before we get started today, make sure you follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. That's at Rig Recon. You can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. And make sure you visit our website, rigrecon.com, for all the latest apparatus content. So, very exciting time of year right now. We're getting ready for FDIC. Safely, it's heavily involved. And we thought, what better than to have the industry expert, David Rhodes, on? So, David Rhodes is the VP of Content and Education, and also the editor-in-chief of Fire Emergency Magazine. So, David, thanks for joining us today. We're excited to talk about FDIC. Before we get started and deep into the questions, maybe give a little overview about yourself and your role and what you kind of do at FDIC.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Well, I did 36 years in the fire service, my last 30 at the city of Atlanta, and the last 17 of those as a battalion chief. So came from the industry. I've been involved with FDIC for about 25 years, starting as a hot instructor and then moving into the hot program management, handling logistics and operations, and then working alongside Bill Manning back in the day when he was editor, and then Bobby Halton for his complete 18 years there. And then Bobby brought me in after I retired, and just as sort of his CO to help him with everything FDIC and the magazine. And so now I'm VP of content for all the brands in the education side. So we've got obviously fire apparatus and emergency equipment. We've got fire engineering, Journal of Emergency Medical Services, and then our newest rebrand, Firefighter Nation, which is health, wellness, and lifestyle for firefighters. So we cover the full gamut. And then the big Mac Daddy, of course, is the Fire Department Instructors Conference with 36,000 plus attendees. And so I pick the classes, set the agenda, help design the opening ceremonies and all the hot everything. And then now we've branched out into the outdoor space, the drill yard during the exhibit. So there's a lot of training going on throughout the entire time now. So that's my history with all of those. And I've been writing for fire engineering since probably around 1999. So it's kind of cool to sort of have grown up in that business and then now, being able to take the helm and run it. So it's pretty cool.
David, I don't want to date anybody here, but you're probably writing for the magazine longer than Bruce is alive.
Probably.
But that's a good thing. Experience is required in this industry.
That's right. And also it's always fresh to have a youthful perspective too.
Absolutely. We need both sides of it. 100%.
Yep.
And that's Bruce's line I just stole.
Yeah, exactly.
FDIC coming up, we're extremely excited. And it's funny, you gave the full name there. Like we all refer to it as FDIC. And I think a lot of people don't understand it. It's called the Fire Department Instructors Conference, but no one's ever thought of it that way from the apparatus side. I think we always thought of it as an apparatus show. And it's just about seeing all the equipment and the rigs and all the manufacturers that are there. There's a lot more that goes into it. And that's what we're really going to dive into here on this podcast is what all is encompassing of FDIC. You've had some huge shoes to fill there with the loss of Bobby Halton, and you've done a great job. Commendations for that. I know it was a lot to live up to.
Yeah, unexpected. It was supposed to be a 3-year transition instead of a 3-month, but I miss old Bobby every day, but I think he's pretty proud of what we've done.
Yeah, some great points there, David. And I think we should start us off, maybe talk about some of the key numbers that the audience should be aware of, like how many students get trained, how many classes are there? Are there any new classes this year that people should know about?
So this year, obviously the conference as a whole is about 36,000 plus attendees, and that includes the vendors and everybody. As far as hot students, we're looking at somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000 hot students. And then, another 20,000 in just the regular education Wednesday through Saturday. So we've got 20 hot classes on Monday, Tuesday. We've got our a new program that we launched last year, which we call it a hot workshop, and that's a couple hours of classroom and then a couple hours of hands-on outside, some heavy demo with a little bit of participation, but not quite like a live burn class. And we do have we have a couple of new classes dealing with apparatus. We have a repeat from last year. One of our guys is doing engine design and layout. That's Dennis Laguerre. He'll be doing that one. And then we have another person that's actually doing like pump operations and stuff. And those will be done at the Lucas Oil Stadium site. So those will be some workshops that are new. We have a urban rope rescue class that will take place Thursday and Friday in the superstructure of Lucas Oil Stadium. So as you're walking around Lucas Oil Stadium, checking out the exhibits, be sure to look up. You'll see some guys hanging off the ropes up there. Bringing Dave McGrail back. He's been gone for a couple of years with his standpipe class, but he'll be in a parking deck right across the street from the convention center, right there at the hotel. Got Mid-Rise Mayhem with Steve Robertson, Todd Edwards. We've got hazmat classes, industrial classes. We've got an MC class, tanker rollover class, where they're actually going to hot tap the tank and offload product. So that'll be a pretty good one. And then we've got 50 4-hour workshops, and then a couple of 100 hour 45 classrooms. And it's everything from EMS to search to apparatus specs to you name it. I mean, it's leadership. It's everything. We try to put a very diverse group of classes in so that we have everything from the brand new firefighter all the way to the most seasoned chief, and everybody that supports it all along.
Yes, so you got a wide range of classes there, and you offer quite a bit, David. Before we started recording, actually a couple of days ago, because we've had some technical difficulties in between then, but you were talking about how important it is to keep the content of the class fresh, and you were also talking about the end user experience and learning how you could do things better. And you kind of had a system that you were telling me about, and I think that's something really neat. And if you wouldn't mind sharing for the end users, kind of how you keep track of how the class is going and maybe some improvements for next year, so you can constantly just keep getting better.
Yeah. So we always do a attendee feedback, and one of the things that we get every year is we want more hands-on training. And until this year, we have typically only done hands-on training on Monday, Tuesday. We call that the pre-conference. Conference kicks off on Wednesday. So for the first time ever, we're expanding that through the week. So we'll have some hands-on training Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Nothing scheduled for Saturday. That's the last day. Maybe different in 26, but for 25, there's pretty decent selection of hands-on classes that are to the same type of system as the pre-con. So it's stuff you have to sign up for and pay extra for those like premium 4-hour type hands-on classes. But for the attendee, it's given that person that couldn't swing the budget for those 2 or 3 extra days pre-con, it's given them something hands-on that they have an option to do during the regular conference. And then last year we put in the drill yard in Lucas Oil Stadium, which is we have the line burn container in there, which is it's fully digital for that one. We've got a 3-story tower going in. The burn building will be 2 stories this year. Then we've got the IAFF bringing their firefighter safety and survival trailer in. Got some forcible entry props in there. And so all of those things are like sponsored content. And we've got Elkhart Brass coming in there with the brass tacks and hard facts deal. So all of those things are free. So, and again, it's not to the level of a live fire class, but it is good training that you can get in a 30, 45-minute session where you're actually putting your hands on some fire hose, you're stretching up stairs, you're forcing a door, you're searching a building, that kind of thing. So we're trying to really give a lot for everybody. We also have UL during the education session. We've given them basically 2 days in the 500 ballroom for like UL Academy, and it's just one class right after another with their research, presenting their research. And then I think they have teamed up with you guys outside in the outdoor area, and they're going to have their water flow prop out there, which they're actually building that on site. And so you'll be able to get some training out there on what the different patterns do. You'll see a little bit about air entrainment, and then about coverage and how your stream works. So we're really excited to have that, and that'll be running nonstop as soon as the show opens on Thursday. So it'll be, I think it's 10 a.m. somewhere around there. So 10 a.m. to 5 on Thursday, all day Friday, and then up to noon on Saturday. So it's like, I always say, you can get all you want.
You certainly can. You mean the Colts didn't want you to do live fire inside Lucas Oil?
We actually, believe it or not, our original plan was to have that water flow prop inside. And they were a little concerned. And I think it's strictly because they had never seen it, because they built a full-size Olympic swimming pool in that stadium for some Olympic
It's actually really cool
trials. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a lot more water than we're going to be flowing in the water prop. So hopefully they'll see that this year, and maybe we can move that in and do some water flow inside. We'll see.
So obviously for your hands-on classes with anything, there's got to be limits. What is the max class size for these hands-on trainings?
So 55 students is the max for your Monday, Tuesday classes that are either 4 or 8 hours. And a lot of that has to do with the number of instructors and the amount of breathing apparatus that we can get and distribute out. And that controls also the number of live fire classes we have. So I think we have 8 live fire classes this year. And so that's the max. But what we did with the hot workshops is we tried to make those a little bit more of an intimate type deal. So we limited those to like 30, 35 students. So you get a little bit more one-on-one with the instructors than you do, out taking the bus out to the site.
So we sit here talking, it's mid-March. We're only about 4 weeks away from the show. Are any of the classes sold out yet, or can
all but two? All but two.
Okay. So a lot of the classes are sold out, but there are still some that they can.
Yep. There's plenty of room in the 4-hour workshops, which are all classroom, plenty of room in those. And then there's still some room in Legier's engine spec into layout and design class. And I think we have a couple of spots. I take that back. There's 3. We have a couple of spots in the active shooter class, and we have a couple of spots in the water rescue class. Other than that, the live fire has been sold out since November.
Wow.
It's live fire is like Garth Brooks tickets. As soon as we open it up, it goes. So, and that's important for anybody who's listening to know. It's like, when we open registration in October, if you want those live fire classes, like, you need to be in the first group to sign up. And we've done some things with pricing too. Like, this year, we added 4 hours to the all-inclusive hot package. So instead of getting 16 hours, you got 20 hours this year. So that was with no increase in your cost. And that gave you an opportunity to do some stuff further in the week if you wanted to. Or it gave you the opportunity to come in Wednesday and then pick, 20 hours of those other classes if you could fit them all in. We
Sure.
One thing that I'm very proud of is that about 50% of our classes are CAPC accredited, so you get EMS hours for them. And the way that works is you may be in an hour 45 search class, but if there is a block of instruction in that search class that covers triage of the patient, cyanide kit, or whatever, then you get that EMS hours for that. Same with the hot classes. If you're doing search and rescue and live fire, whatever, you pull a victim out and you do triage, then that qualifies you for EMS hours. And I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather get my EMS hours doing that than anything else.
Yeah. Rather than sitting in a classroom just staring at a screen.
Yeah. Or on the computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's an added benefit. You do have to exert a little effort. You have to actually put the information in that you want the credit. But it's there, and it's a process we have to go through. We have to get each one of those approved through CAPC. So that's a several month process. And we pick the classes in late July. So as soon as FDIC is over, we open up, call for presentations day one of the conference, and it closes like the end of June. And then our advisory board evaluates them, scores them, and then we get together end of July, very first week of August at the latest, and we pick the curriculum for the next year, and then it's off to the races with getting the accreditation for the training, and getting the schedule, and working out the notifications, and starting to find the sites, signing the classroom. So it's year round.
So an important takeaway here for our audience is plan ahead.
Yes.
If you go to the FDIC website, you'll see the dates for the next 2 or 3 years are already out there and set. So you can plan ahead. And as you just heard David say, the classes for hands-on, especially live fire training, filled rapidly. So plan ahead. If you want to attend that in 2026, make sure you get that in really early.
Yep. And we do have a new app this year, which is it's going to be very helpful. It's a different vendor that we're using. It's called Map My Show, and if you've downloaded the app in the past, you can delete it because it's not the same, and you'll need to go in and download it again. Download a new app, and it has everything in there: instructor bios, class titles, booth locations. I mean, it has everything. And then you have a planning tool inside that app where you can pick your classes, you can pick your booths you want to go see, and it'll lay that out for you, and it'll give you the special events at night, the entire schedule's on there. It's pretty impressive. This is the best one we've had so far.
We often get asked the question, and we did our own little podcast on FDIC from our standpoint, from Safely, to talk about what we're going to show.
Right.
And one of the questions that came up in it was how to get the most out of it, how to make sure you're covering the whole thing. One of the things that I think you guys do an amazing job of is hyping it, not just before, but during the event with booth videos, with a morning opening, with an afternoon close and wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
Let our audience know what all it is that you're doing, so that while they're there, if they attended the show and they walked it Thursday and they said, well, I think I saw everything. Yep. There are things they may want to look at online that will tell them, nope, you didn't see it all, and here's what you need to catch.
Yeah, you definitely need to go to the FDIC website, sign up for the notifications, the newsletters, because they send stuff out daily, sometimes multiple times. And some of it is highlights of what happened, earlier in the day or the day before, but a lot of it is what's coming up on the schedule. So it's just a good little memory jogger to let you know in case you forgot. Definitely plan out your show ahead of time. If you get that app and, find somebody that's been before. I mean, it's kind of like going to DC and trying to see all the museums in 2 days. It can't happen. So like you need a good plan, and if you want to see everything and spend quality time and take classes, then it's going to be tough for you to go and see every single exhibitor unless you're just walking by, you know. But if you actually want to go and see some product and talk to the reps, then you need to schedule that, and you need to like map that out so that you're not going over to Lucas Oil Stadium and then having to come back over to ICC and then go back over to Lucas Oil Stadium, come back to ICC, and then go to the outdoor area on South Street. You know, you need to make you a plan and like follow that route, and make sure that you can get everybody. And there's also everybody has a QR code on their badge, and a lot of the exhibitors have the QR code readers, so they'll scan and get your information, and they'll hook you up with somebody, even after the show. But yeah, we have Live at FDIC podcast going from before the show actually starts all the way through, and it's booked solid through the whole time. That's sponsored again this year by Firehouse subs. So, when we're in there, we have to do the welcome to the Firehouse subs Live at FDIC podcast booth, so that's pretty fun. And the chief operating officer of Firehouse subs will be there, and they're really big into their scholarship and their grants. That they do for local fire departments, and so those are always available to buy equipment, and everything from nozzles to hose to hydraulic tools. So, and it's crazy that so many. There should be millions of people putting in for it, and there's probably hundreds. So, put in for that so you can get some equipment. And then they also have a really cool program where they have a pretty big incentive for firefighters and retired firefighters to open franchises. And it's a special deal. They offer some big money up front that's just given to you as a grant to get you started. So that's pretty cool. So they're a really good partner. And they also provide all of the lunches for the pre-con hands-on training for everybody. That's another thing we have to do is we have all those different sites, and it's all remote. Some of our classes are up to an hour away, and we have to feed everybody on site as well. So that's another logistical piece.
A lot goes into it.
Yep.
Yeah. So David, I think you answered one of the questions I was going to ask, which was for a first-time attendee, it can be overwhelming. How do you navigate the show? And you hit on a lot of great points there. Plan ahead, take advantage of the app, visit the website. But I want to spin off of that a little bit. So for a first-time attendee coming to FDIC, let's do a must-attend hot class, and then something you must visit during the show, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something you just got to do.
Well, if you can get in the live fire, obviously that's a must. I wouldn't say that I really have a favorite, but any of the live fire is good, from the first due company officer, vent enter search, flashover. That's a really cool one. The flashover chamber has been running since we started the full hot program, which would have been probably 98, 99. And every year we're like, okay, people are going to get tired of this. Nobody's going to want to do it anymore. Everybody's got a flashover chamber. It's like one of the first classes to sell out every year. And so it's crazy. They end up with like 18 instructors in that deal running 2 flashover chambers just nonstop for 2 days straight. So it's still a big demand for that. I would say don't miss opening ceremonies. There is limited seating. I think it's about 3,600 in that ballroom for opening ceremony. So you need to get there early. But that's sort of good hoorah, get you fired up, get a lot of good speakers. We got Mike Champo delivering the keynote on Wednesday. He just retired from FDNY, been a long time instructor and writer, writes the back page for fire engineering. And he's working for us now as a contributing editor. I call us the bookends because I write the front page, he writes the back page, and everybody reads the back page first. So you have to read fire engineering backwards. So we're really excited to have him. And he's got a book coming out that's sort of a collection of his first 10 years of back pages. And he's on like, I don't know, year 15 or so now. So that'll be a really cool collection. He'll be speaking and have the book come out. We've got Christina Moon on Thursday, who is the widow of Billy Moon, who was one of the FDNY rescue guys. And he's the guy that was a line of duty death. He fell off the truck during a training drill and hit his head. But he was an organ donor, and it's something that they had talked about, that he made sure she was an organ donor, and something he was very passionate about. Well, he saved 5 people's lives with his organs, and 3 of them were FDNY firefighters.
Wow.
So that'll be pretty special for Thursday. So definitely check those out. And there's like one hot class going on Thursday during that. But again, we want you to have options. So if you don't want to come here talking heads and you want to go pull hose, you go right ahead and pull hose. You can watch the opening ceremonies online later, because it's all recorded. But definitely, if it's your first time, I think it's pretty cool to go to the opening ceremonies. Then got to go see the drill yard, obviously, in the outdoor area where, the demos are happening. I think that's pretty cool. Lion will be out there again with their training props, and they'll have the heat event going. I think they've got the helicopter simulator and the car fire. And I think that's like right beside you guys, isn't it? Pretty close to where you are on South Street.
Yep.
So they'll be out there. And then, you just got to look through. There's over 800 exhibitors, and find out what it is you need or you want to know. And here's like the coolest thing about FDIC. It's the only place where the entire fire industry comes together at one time. You've got a lot of different conferences. You got a lot of small local conferences, and they may have 3 or 4 tabletop exhibitors. Usually those are distributors,
Yes.
doing stuff that are sales folks in that area, which is phenomenal. But at FDIC, you've got all the product people in one location, the majority of them, 800 and something. So whether it's a fire truck or a nozzle or a hose or a pike pole, a Halligan, whatever it is, and you can go and talk to the people that either designed it, make it, or are the experts on what it is. So you can walk up and learn about a new product, or you can come in with a problem that you've had with an existing thing and say, hey, we're having a problem with XYZ. Have you guys experienced that? And for you guys, it may be the first time you've ever heard it. And I tell people all the time, there is no count of how many product improvements have taken place because of a conversation at a booth or a drawing on a napkin after hours in a bar or a restaurant. And it's like, you can talk to anybody and find out anything. And it's all about, making the fire service better and each other better. Not to mention, another piece of magic is the collaboration that goes on between the exhibitors, as you're like, hey, they're doing something we're not doing, is like, there may be an opportunity here. Like,
Right.
we could partner up with so-and-so and they offer something that we don't have. So that's another neat piece to it. And then the culture, I call it the culture of FDIC, is that vibe of getting you excited, recharging your batteries to go back to your organization for the whole year. And I'm sure it's the same for you guys. It's like, it's so massive and it's so exhausting. But when you come back, you've got so many contacts and you're just ready to go. You're like, all right, I got to get on these calls. I gotta roll. Then you have the after hour stuff, and it's formal, organized stuff, and it's informal. It's like, I'll let the hairs on the back of my neck stand up every time. It used to be the Colada, but unfortunately they closed the Colada down. So now whether it's Kilroy's or one of their other restaurants and you're in there talking to some guys from around the country, and then 20 of those bagpipers come in and they do a 15-minute impromptu bagpipe concert for you. And it's just like, woo, you're just
Yeah.
ready to go, you know? So
It is really cool.
and that's the culture of it. It's just like, it's truly showing the brotherhood of the fire service. And I know you guys enjoy it just as much as we do. A lot of late
And
night dinners though. That's probably my least favorite thing is like, okay, we got dinner reservations at 9:30 and I'm like, 9:30, holy smoke. I'm used to eating at 5:30 or 6. And then you got to be up at 4:00 in the morning to do it all again the next day.
You touched on one important point that I want to drive home for people. You mentioned there's a lot of little local shows across the country. And a lot of times we hear people say, well, why should I spend the money to go out to Indianapolis at FDIC if I'm from the East Coast or the West Coast when I've got little local shows in my backyard? The difference is exactly what you said, bringing everyone together.
Yep.
If I go to the local show and I want to look at, I'll just use a nozzle, for example, since that's something we do. If I go to the local show and I'm going to look at Elkhart TFT in Akron, I'm going to see the rep probably that sells that locally.
Yep.
Whereas if I go to FDIC, not
You're
only am
gonna
I
see the engineer,
I'm going to see the engineer, I'm going to see the head salesman from that factory, like they're all going to be there. So
Yeah.
you really can touch the people that truly make a difference. It's not to diminish what a dealer can do by any means,
right?
but it brings it all together.
Yep. And I tell people all the time, it's like when they ask me that, I say, you should do both. I mean, you should go to the local show because anytime there's training, you should be on it. If you got the time to do it, you can never train too much. So go get the training and go get the exposure. And it's about building the relationships too, because you need a relationship with that local dealer or rep. But you just don't get the full picture, and you don't have the 800 people again, and it's the entire industry. And not only is it firefighters and exhibitors, it's organizations. So, you know, you've got the IFF people are there, FSRI is there, National Fire Academy people are there, the North American training directors are there, the DOD firefighters are there, the Air Force, the Army. I mean, it's everybody in the industry. And there's meetings going on at different places. We've got all the different summits going on for specialty stuff like industrial firefighter, ARF firefighters. We've got a whole group of metro officers that meet, which is like the second level in command of the department, the doers, the operations, the logistics chiefs, you know, the planning chiefs, and they deal with issues that they have to encounter every day, and they set their own agenda. The Metro, the Officers Club, where we match up exhibitors to some of those chiefs that have said, hey, well, I need information on this. And it's like personal time at a table over breakfast with them. What else do we have? We've got a technology summit this year, which is like packed out with about 200, I think, already. And they're going to be doing 4 hours of classroom Wednesday morning. And then they're going to bus out to the Indianapolis Fire Academy, and they're going to get product demos and stuff inside scenarios. So we've got like, you know, a building fire, and you're going to see a fire truck, an electric fire truck, deploy hose, firefighters searching, a drone footage, and then a command software all in one. Then you're going to see an EV vehicle fire suppression with a product on another one, and you get to rotate through and actually see and how these different products interact and work. So that's going to be a pretty cool one too. And everybody seems to be really interested in what's the latest technology. There's going to be robots out there, you know. So that's kind of cool. And again, it's not for everybody. Your knuckle dragging truck guy wants to search and break windows and stuff and probably doesn't care about drones. but there's plenty of other people that want to see the drones or want to learn how to do PIO stuff, or and there's a whole group of people that come just for the products as well, for the apparatus and the nozzles and equipment. A lot of apparatus deals made on the floor there.
For sure.
Most of you guys have a little booth you can scurry them off in, a little quiet space, And
Yep.
I know a couple years ago I was up there and I saw some chiefs from one of the Metro Atlanta departments, and I'm like, "You guys got your whole group up here?" He goes, "Yeah, we're buying 4 engines, and 3 of them were at the show as like demos, and so they were buying them all and taking them back with them. Probably can't get them right now, but
No,
they're,
not today.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of great points there and a lot of content. And like you guys said, it's all in one, and there's just nothing quite like it. David, as we wrap up here today, again, amazing stuff. I'm gonna throw one at you. Do you have a favorite FDIC memory or moment? And maybe you got a couple, that's fine too. But want to hear what
um,
that one is.
yeah, probably I'd say a couple. I really enjoyed teaching hot back late 90s, probably 97, 98. I did the confined space rescue class and a little bit with the rope rescue stuff, special ops type. So that was a blast, just because hanging out with the instructors. One of my mentors, who passed away over 20 years ago, but he was the kind of the lead, and we were all in that group with him, and that he kind of led me to doing the logistics and all of that through. He was the person that brought me to FDIC. So that was a great memory. I got to do the keynote for opening ceremonies back in the Bill Manning days, and I can't remember if it was 99 or 2000, but it was right in there. And we also were doing 3 shows then. We were doing FDIC, FDIC West, and FDIC East. So I actually got to deliver that twice. I did FDIC West and FDIC. And that was back, keynotes are 20 minutes now. That was back when the keynotes were an hour. So we did a full, me and another guy split, and did an hour with a full media package. And, that was really cool. And then, my first time, after Bobby passed away, obviously was super emotional, but it was a good, it was a tribute to him. And then it was also me establishing myself. And, I still get feedback from that, from borrowing his whole, unapologetic, spill. Guys really loved that. We got something kind of special for this one coming up too. Last year I came out with the guitar playing Revolution from the Beatles. That was the theme, start a revolution. And this year is going to be about mission, service, and purpose, and all the recruitment and retention issues we're going through that are kind of tied to some leadership issues. So it'll be pretty fun. And then
Awesome.
you got Champo and coming in there to round it out. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, great stuff there, and it's always good to tell some stories too.
And I did get to play the drums with the bagpipers last year. That was a
Oh, there you go.
pretty big highlight. It was a short time, and it was at the Union Hall, but I actually played drums a little bit in like elementary and middle school, and did percussion, orchestra, timpani, all that stuff. So I hadn't played in forever, but I still kind of had a little bit. I was able to watch, and so I got to beat on the snare drum a little bit with the bagpipers, and I thought that was pretty fun.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's a good one. So, again, as we talked about today, we laid everything out, all FDIC, and if you're attending, 2 words: be prepared.
Yeah.
Do your homework.
Hydrate.
So, that's right. Yeah, hydrate. Another great one. So, this concludes another episode of Rig Recon Live. If you haven't already, follow us on social media. You can find this podcast wherever you get it, catch up on all the latest episodes, and visit our website, rigrecon.com. Until then, expect the best.